Welcome back, Six Pack Sports Podcast. I'm here, Drew, with a U. I got my boy Rich on the flip side down in Florida.
What's up?
Super Bowl weekend, lots of food, lots of beers, and a little pigskin. What are you drinking tonight?
I got a Sweetwater Hazy IPA, and I had a few last night watching the game. A bunch of random beers, so I'm pretty excited to get into this one.
So I think we're getting to the point where that's not random for you anymore. You say you're not an IPA guy, but you've had about 45
I bought
other.
a Sweetwater variety pack, so I'm working my way through it.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
So I'm really not an IPA guy, but these they've been very hit or miss. So we'll see about these ones.
I am rocking a leftover Guinness tonight. Um,
Can't go wrong.
I can't go wrong with that. And when you got 45 of them in the fridge, you just keep drinking them. So
Did I ever tell you about the time I got shamed for ordering a Guinness
by
down here
who
in Florida?
should
By
be
the
eliminated
waitress.
from this earth?
I order, I'm like, we go out with our friends, go up to the bar, say, "Yeah, I'll take a Guinness, please." She looks me dead in the eye. She's like, "Oh, adult chocolate milk, huh?" And I was like, "Just pour the beer. Just pour it.
I
Go about your day."
like,
First of all, it's a
I
very it's a good beer.
it's an excellent beer. It's the best stout there is, a
I
year in
didn't
and year out.
I didn't order a frozen drink. I didn't order like a daiquiri or a Bay Breeze, like just a Guinness. Just dead my eye. And this girl was, 5'3", 105 pounds soaking wet. And she just cut through me like a hot butter through night, like a hot knife through butter.
Hot butter through a knife.
Hot butter through a knife. It was really hot butter.
I'll tell you what, when you're mixing hot butter and a knife, just look out.
Ugh,
Um,
all right.
that's
So,
that's garbage. Because 'cause let's
yeah,
be honest,
how could you?
you go anywhere in Ireland, and you order a Guinness, you're a man's man, is what you are.
It's the drink of the people over there.
That's garbage. All right. First things first. Super Bowl, Kansas City Chiefs 38, Philadelphia Eagles 35. But first things I need to know, how's the food gameplay on your end?
Yeah, we went pretty big on it. So we started out we had a family party. Mom, dad, sister, some friends from actually Michigan came down, some friends from down here. We had about 12 people, bunch of little kids running around. So we did all kinds of snacks. Started out with some seafood. We had Old Bay shrimp and we had a smoked salmon, which was really,
Mm,
really good.
that's
We had then like some like finger food. My sister made a like cherry tomato, cook it down with some balsamic on toast. Great little thing. And then I did steak sandwiches, like Italian beef steak sandwiches. And if you've been to Al's Chicago, or like if you watched The Bear on FX this year, we did those for our main. And I actually cooked everything Saturday. So like I slow cooked the beef for like 3 hours in the juice, made the juice that you dunk it in and everything. Whole process, incredible. 10 out of 10.
so
Definitely
you
gonna
guys
make it
don't
again.
screw around on food opportunities.
So the Super Bowl in our family is equivalent to
Thanksgiving.
like a Thanksgiving, a Christmas, a Thanksgiving, a 4th of July. Like we had like my parents had Super Bowl, was it 55 or 56 plates and napkins like with the logo on it. We had balloons. It was very festive. Like, we love the Super Bowl. It's just we love any excuse to get together, cook a bunch of food for everybody and hang out.
100%.
What
So
about you
on,
guys?
on our end, it was a pretty cool experience because we moved last year, and we've been in our new house for about a year now, and we invited our old neighbors over.
Oh, that's cool.
They came over, and then we invited our new neighbors over at the same time. So it was like, "Hey, have you met them? They're our old neighbors. Here's our new neighbors. We're all gonna be friends now." And that's kinda what happened by the end of the game.
How'd they
Everybody
get
was
along?
they did, they did.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty cool. Um,
It's tough
alcohol
to find good
helped
neighbors.
breaking the barriers of, conversations, but, overall, I took a chapter out of our, six-pack from last week. We had wings, meatballs, chips and dips, chocolate star chocolate covered strawberries,
Mm,
and, my neighbor brought over a Bloody Mary ingredients. We had a Bloody Mary bar, so that was pretty cool.
love a good
Um,
bloody.
about halftime, I had to tone it down because, it was Sunday night, and let's be
Yeah.
honest, it's not that big a deal
I
to
got
go into
pretty
work Monday morning
I got
hungover.
pretty toasty, and we let Cam stay the night, our 2.5-year-old, at my parents' house, and we came home. I slept through my first call of the day. Because we usually Cam wakes us up at like 6 or 7. So without her home, I slept until 9:45 and through my first work call. It's like, sorry about that. That's on me. Whoops. Um, but yeah, it was good. So what about thoughts on the game?
So, overall, in my lifetime, likely a top 5 Super Bowl game.
The game was awesome.
The game was awesome. The score was back and forth, very heavy offensive
A
gameplay.
lot of
We had some
points.
deep passes, we had some long runs, not a lot of penalties, which is great.
Okay,
The
we'll get to
fan
that.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that, but overall, not a whole lot of penalties,
No,
which kept the game going. It, kept the fan interested, and there wasn't a lot of, uh, stoppage in play, which I can't stand, so that's good.
I thought
Overall, I loved the Eagles' strategy in the game. In my opinion, and I actually have not seen a lot of chat on this in the social medias, on Twitter or anything, but if you notice, every single play of the Eagles went down to 0 or 1 second on the game clock, and I think that shows in the time of possession. They had 36 minutes to 24 minutes. I think their gameplay, their strategy was, if we could hang on to the ball long enough and not let Mahomes have 8 more plays in the game, that could be 7 points. That could be 3 points.
that's been
Obviously,
there.
work out in the end,
Yeah.
but 72 plays to 53, they did exactly what they needed to do in order to set themselves up to win the game. It just didn't work out.
No, that's been their MO all year. Running team, control the ball, have more plays on offense than their opponent, and then let that defense of theirs wreak havoc and get after the quarterback. Uh, Kansas City protected Mahomes, and that one defensive turnover for a touchdown, that was the difference maker. That's really what kept Kansas City in it early because Philly looked dominant in the first half. I don't think Kansas City stopped them outside of that fumble return for a touchdown. I didn't notice them working the clock, but that's what I would do against Kansas City. The best way to beat Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid is to keep Patrick Mahomes on the sideline.
Mhm.
But I gotta say, we got to a point in the fourth quarter where I was sitting there, I was just like, this is awesome. This is one of the best football games I've seen in a long time. Back and forth scoring, big plays, and everybody seemed to be getting involved too. Like on the Chiefs side, they were spreading the ball around. And then for Philly, like everybody seemed to be getting a touch. Jalen obviously ran them all in and he threw for one. But low key, Dallas Goddard had an incredible game. He was fun. I was impressed with his play. He was the best tight end on the field yesterday.
He had that one catch where it hit the defender in the nameplate on his jersey
Mhm.
and snagged it.
He had the one off the nameplate, and then the one that they called a catch that he double clutched on the sideline. He just it felt like every meaningful play he was around. I enjoyed it. I mean, it was one of the most fun football games we've watched in a while, and it just feels like the Chiefs are in these multiple times a year.
Mhm.
And it was really, really great to get that type of game in the Super Bowl. So, kind of like with that leading into the Super Bowl and what an awesome game it was, that last play. And not the I'm sorry, not the last play, but that holding call on the last drive. That was
Well,
effectively the
basically
last
was the
meaningful
last
play.
play. The rest of the
Yeah.
game was downed and kicking field goals and a deep pass for Philly, which was nothing. So,
What do you think about it?
you know, it was a great game back and forth, as we just said. Showcased offenses, and I feel cheated. that we got cheated out of a great finish. And I think this is the last thing that the NFL wanted as well. The NFL wanted a potential field goal or a score out of Kansas City with enough time for Philly to make it a memorable game. That's what the NFL wanted. They wanted that storyline. They wanted
Yep.
those, video replays that they can show for the
A
next
game-winning
25
drive,
years.
a classic finish.
Correct. But instead, we got a a controversial holding call with 3 blocking of the knees and then a random field goal to finish the game.
Yeah,
Um,
and the hold itself, I had money on the Chiefs, and then I had Chiefs in our pick 'em, so I didn't have a dog as far as being a fan in the fight, but incentive wise, I'm pulling Chiefs. I saw that play and I was like, that's weak. That's a rough call. I saw a bunch of different angles. They didn't, after everybody's put every angle online, there was a little tug, but it looked like a play that had been happening the entire night
the
and not getting
entire
called.
game.
And don't get me wrong, a defensive holding, I think it's a good I don't think it should be an automatic first down. I think it should just be 5 yards. It happens a lot. They call it a fair amount, but to call that hold in that spot of the Super Bowl with a minute and change left on third down and give them a fresh set of downs, that was crazy. I was shocked when
They handed Kansas City the game right then
they
and there.
really did. They really did.
And we
It was
talked about this
pretty.
last week with, LeBron throwing his fit. Um, if it's the final play of the game, y unless it's an egregious hold or pass interference, you gotta hang on to that flag and let the boys play,
It really has to
in
be
my opinion.
blatant. Do you remember what was it? I wanna say it was like 4 or 5 years ago, the one where the Saints player just laid out the Rams
Oh, it
running
was
back, and they didn't
probably
call.
the worst non-call in the history of the
Yeah, so, that those are the things that always make me just wonder about the refs, not that it's fixed, just like, what are you guys looking at that cannot get called for pass interference,
I
and
mean,
then on the second part,
according
you're
to
gonna
Roger
call.
Goodell, the refs have never been better.
Well, according to Roger Goodell's the worst. That's I don't wanna get off topic. Roger
That
Goodell
dude's garbage.
sucks, sucks.
Take a line out of
Um,
my book and say he's garbage.
he's trash.
Ooh, trash. He's what goes in the
He's
garbage.
trash.
I like
Um, but I can't help but feel like it did just detract a little bit from one of the best Super Bowls I've ever watched. It was such an awesome game. They were so competitive the whole time. We should have gotten a field goal or a touchdown there. Or well, really on that play, we should have got a field goal from the Chiefs, 38-35, and then we should have
'cause that
got
would've been that
Jalen.
was 4th down.
Yeah,
They
we
would've
should have
kicked
got
a
uh,
35 yarder,
yeah.
which I'm
And I
fine
mean,
with.
and he missed one earlier. So I mean, that would have been a much tougher field goal. But then we're gonna get Jalen Hurts down three or all tied up with a minute and 20 to
Yeah,
go
which is
and
plenty of time.
buckle up because that's exactly what I want to see. Because Jalen Hurts should probably win the NFL MVP this year. So that's exactly what I want to see. I want to see the NFL MVP with a minute and a half left, a minute left, and you got to go score to force overtime or win the Super Bowl. And we didn't get a chance to see that.
Overall, we got cheated,
Yes.
as fans to see a great finish.
I
It was
just
an ugly
hate,
fight. I don't really care who won
yeah.
outside of little tiny prop bets, but we got cheated as fans. I'm fine with the flag, just not at that part of the game.
It was a really weak fat flag, I think, in general, and you just can't throw it there. You can't throw that flag there.
Um, kind of closing thoughts on my end for the game. Um, the grass was a difference maker in the game.
Yep.
The NFL, I read online that the NFL spent 2 years growing and preparing this grass at a local sod farm in Phoenix.
Yeah,
It's installed about 2 weeks ago and rolled outside for daily sunshine for the last
I
2 weeks.
saw that. Because
Total
the
cost $800,000.
Phoenix, right?
Total fail 100%.
Insane. And Phoenix has that type of stadium too, where that whole field goes out into the parking lot and gets real sunshine. So it's a dome with a retractable
Correct.
roof and a real grass field. I said it and like I made a comment at the end of the first quarter, second quarter. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be that game. They go into halftime and everybody's gonna be changing their cleats, putting on the 3/4 inch and getting the big boys out. And I don't think everybody did it. Um, you hate to see the surface play a factor into the
Correct.
game. That
So
I
one thing that I never thought about, and I think this made a lot of sense, because I was texting one of my buddies who played football, and I said, "How sucky does it feel to play on that type of turf when it's kinda wet and you're slipping around?" And he replied, and I was shocked by this, "I'd rather be slipping and falling than getting injured on artificial turf."
Yeah, I never had an issue with turf. My senior year, we played all 10 of our games on turf fields. I always kind of liked it. I will say, and that's just as a play thing. I think they should go away from turf because if you look at the correlation to knee injuries versus when turf fields started becoming prevalent, they like skyrocket in 2004, 2005 when
100%.
everybody got it. And then when I was at college at a small school in Michigan, and don't bother looking it up, it was nowhere big. But
Eastern Michigan University.
no, I didn't play at Eastern.
Oh,
Before I transferred to Eastern, I went to a small school and played for a year. But I want to kick off. It was a turf field. I broke down and I went to plant, and my knee just buckled, and I
100%.
almost tweaked
It's
it.
concrete.
I
It's
yeah, I mean,
concrete underneath that.
but it's like a mesh, right? So like in grass, when you plant your cleat into the field and you go to like pivot and turn, the grass gives and the dirt gives and your foot and your ankle can rotate. When you plant into turf, your knee rotates, but that foot stays
Mhm.
in place. And I think that's what causes a lot of those knee injuries.
Yes.
And you'll start to see, I bet you, a bunch of these fields start going back to grass.
So, last thought on the game here. We can blame the field. We can blame that final hold. We can blame Patrick Mahomes.
Well,
But
both
at the
teams
end
had
of
to
the
play
day,
on the field, so I can't blame the field on it.
Kansas City scored on every possession in the second half.
That's insane.
It's
That's
insane. I mean,
that's
if you
why
want to win the game, make one
stop.
keep and stop, and you're in the position to win the game.
Yeah,
Anyway,
they went crazy.
moving on to the other parts of Super Bowl, which is
Yeah,
honestly more impressive
the
to me
accompaniment.
because as a Lions fan, we've never got to experience the game where it mattered, so you kind of focus on the other stuff. Gronk's field goal for FanDuel.
So was
That
that
promo,
live?
it was supposed to be live, but it was clearly taped ahead of time.
Right.
That promo flopped worse than LeBron James.
That
It
was
was
so bad.
horrible.
And was it just me or did it look 100% like he made it? Because footballs don't travel like that.
Everything that I read on Twitter said it was super windy where they did that, and it
I've
was
never
legit.
seen a ball from like a 25-yard field goal go as far left to right as it did front to back. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It looked pretty sketchy to me, but what are you gonna do?
Well, FanDuel, I don't think that he was supposed to miss it. I mean, they probably
No.
practiced a lot. He's like, "Yeah, I can make a 35 yarder, no big deal." They still paid people out.
Well,
That's how big of a flop it was.
they were celebrating like he made it. Like
It's
everybody
'cause
ran out, they
they
lit it off.
probably anticipated him making it.
I would think so. I mean, it's a pretty odd moment. You're right. And that's why like live stuff during the Super Bowl, live TV is no joke. You
No
remember
joke.
working in baseball, like even on the smallest scale of like we did minor league baseball in Alabama. Things went wrong with every live event. Like anytime now in my world where we're doing video and production, everything I like to have as much control over and pre-produce as possible. I don't like to do anything live if we can help it.
FanDuel, just do better. Maybe n
Do better.
also, they probably didn't do it live because Gronk was hammered at
Yeah,
some
that's
point
true.
in the Super Bowl. So they're like, "Yeah,
But
we can pre-tape this."
if they didn't do it live, couldn't they do like 4 or 5 takes until they knew he made it?
That too. Also, if you're gonna do it live, do it while Rihanna's setting up her halftime show.
Yeah.
Takes 30 seconds to do that.
It's an awesome
Mhm.
halftime show, by the way.
Um, dude, just do better, FanDuel. I don't know.
FanDuel.
It didn't hit right. That
FanDuel
was
sucks.
a huge
Didn't
flop.
they also not pay out everybody on the Draymond Green under bets last year? Or did they end up paying out on those?
I'd have to look that up.
Do you
I
you remember
remember when
what
I
I'm
was
talking about? When he was injured, but, like, it was the first time, oh gosh, why am I blanking on his name? Clay came back in, like, 2
yeah, he wanted to
years.
start play. So
So he
everybody
started so
took him on.
everybody parlayed all of his unders, like, under minutes, under rebounds, under points. they lost millions, and they was like, "No, we're not paying out," and I don't remember whatever resolved of that.
I I can't imagine if they did, but I can't remember. So,
Mm.
speaking of speaking of bets, some prop bets, how'd you do?
I missed every prop bet I made.
Got
It was
every
almost
one?
impressive. Yeah, I made, 5 or 6 prop bets, but I hit my game parlay, so I ended up winning, like, 15 bucks on the night.
Really?
Yeah, it was wild. So I
I'm
took, like
interested on what your misses were because I was
right.
about probably 60-40 on hits.
So I took, first quarterback to be shown in America the Beautiful. Patrick Mahomes was like minus 185 and Jalen Hurts was plus 120. So I went on Jalen Hurts. They showed Mahomes first. And
Okay.
then I took the over on the national anthem, the under cashed. He hit like a tight 2 minutes on
No, the
203.
the under missed.
The over
It's
hit on
over.
the anthem at 203.
It was official 201. It was,
Well, I
under
got it.
was, 159.5.
Oh, I wish I
Not
would have
over.
got that line
Just
because
'cause you said over.
I
But
got
it
it at
wasn't
2
on the
minutes and 3 seconds. Where I was betting, that was the line was 2 minutes and 3 seconds. So I took the over and I missed. So I missed that. I missed I this one I kind of knew I was going to miss, but I sprinkled 25 bucks on Travis Kelsey to win the MVP because he's been throwing up those random like 3 or 4 touchdown games every year
I mean,
or this
hits 2
year.
scores and
So
150 yards, it's possible.
I missed yeah, that's well, basically my thought was if they have one of those games where he gets 2 or 3 touchdowns and he has like 100, 120 yards, they might sneak it to him because Mahomes already has the MVP from the last game, and I could just see it happening like it did with Cooper Cup last year. If, Mahomes doesn't have 400 yards, which he didn't. Like at this one, they kind of gave it to him because he had the best game of the winning team. I think Jalen Hurts was actually the MVP. I digress my bets that I lost. I lost the Gatorade color. Um, what else did I lose? I took, I don't know. I have to go back and look, but of all the props, I lost all of them. But I went back and when I was betting the game, like I took the Chiefs and I took the over and I parlayed them, and we had and I was gonna take the under. Everybody that we were with was on the over, and I didn't want to root against everybody. So
Sure.
I jumped on the over with everybody and parlayed it, and that turned out to be a nice hit, and it actually washed. I think I ended up losing like 200 bucks in prop bets, but then I won 200 bucks on the or like 250 bucks on the parlay. So win-win.
Uh, again, I was about 60-40 on mine. Um, you did some random ones, which
I like the random ones because then I'm like
those are
interested.
wild card for me. I
Oh,
did a little bit of research.
I missed on Rihanna's first song. I picked "Shut Up and Drive" for her first song, and it started out with "Better Have My Money."
Right.
So
So I hit on the coin toss being tails.
nice.
I hit on a Hertz anytime rushing TD, and I was
That was a great
very,
bet.
very close on doing Hertz 2 rushing touchdowns, and I can't imagine the guys who did Hertz 3 rushing touchdowns. I mean, that's gotta pay out really well.
Somebody's got it.
But
Yeah.
I hit on the Hertz anytime rushing. I hit on a Kelch anytime touchdown, which basically I won a nickel on that, like,
Nice.
wasn't a big deal. Brown anytime TD, I hit,
Like
and
an actual nickel or $500?
no, like an actual nickel, like, that's how low of the win was. Mahomes 3 scores I hit on.
Nice.
I hit on a anytime, any team defensive score.
Ooh.
I was jumping up and down big time for that one because that's a big deal.
Yeah,
I was
that was probably what, like 1,200 to 1, 1,800 to 1? Or I'm sorry, 8
I
plus
didn't
1,800,
I didn't
18 to
memorize
1?
didn't
Yeah.
memorize what I had, but, and then Damar Hamlin getting screen time. That was a
Oh, I
positive.
didn't even see that prop. I would have bet that for
That
sure.
was oh, yeah, he's gonna be there, duh.
Yeah.
I missed on the anthem. I missed on the Chiefs scoring first. I missed on Mahomes passing for 350. I also missed on, the Gatorade. I picked orange, which is actually
Mhm.
kinda stupid because neither team are orange, but, purple, and
Well, they don't do
I don't even think purple is an option.
it was on Bovada where I was betting. And I almost took purple, but I went with there was one that was like lime green slash yellow. And it was even money because the Eagles guy said that's all they've drank this season
Gotcha.
is lime Gatorade. So I was like, oh, that seems like probably the best odds. I know it's at least 50-50.
I also
Purple. I
missed on, over 7.5 sacks, which looking back, I thought that was gonna be an easy one. That's 4 sacks per team, easy,
That's a
but
lot
ended
of
up getting 2
sacks.
sacks total in the game.
Yeah, that offensive line had time to prepare. They were ready to go.
And I
But yeah,
missed
it's
on, Rihanna's color outfit. I thought she
yeah,
black.
I could see that. The red was aggressive. I liked it though. Rihanna crushed it. Her halftime performance was great. I was a big fan.
It was what I liked about it, it was flashy,
Mhm.
but simple.
Yeah. She had
They
like
didn't go crazy with trying to do aggressive lighting or crazy dancing, like, it was just well-timed choreographed dancing
really cool
and
set piece.
and a nice set piece, yes.
Yeah, like The
Overall
weekend went
finished
hard.
up, 237 up, and then my daughter also hit on a $45 per square pool, so that was a big deal, and I didn't
Heck
notice
yeah.
it till after the game, so when Kansas City kicked that field goal, I was pissed in the moment, but then after the game, I looked at the pool and I was like, "Oh my gosh." I just that was I mean, that's $1,000, no big deal.
There you go. And just
And
pocket
that was
that real
pretty cool.
quick
I've
and
never
keep
hit
it on
on,
your way.
anything big on that, so that was a pretty fun feeling.
Yeah.
But,
So I'm glad you got some wins. Statistically, it's like impossible to have missed as many bets and as squares as I had this weekend and only win my parlay. Like I think I
usually the
had probably
parlay's the hardest to hit.
I know. That's the one I thought like, oh, I don't know. I felt pretty good about Kansas City winning. I was definitely nervous in the first half because I lost pretty much all of my early game like prop bets. And then when I missed the Rihanna first song, I was like, I basically was clinging on to Travis Kelsey for the MVP. And like the win to come back, and thank God they came back and were able to come back from 10 down in the second half.
Overall, it was just fun betting. I mean, nobody's, I'm not putting my mortgage up on these prop bets. I mean, I'm just throwing a little bit down just to have a little bit of fun, but,
Yeah.
I try to do the ones that I think have the best opportunity to be no-brainers, like Hurts on anytime rushing TD. Yeah, that's a rushing
Hmm.
TD team on the goal line. He's their option 1. Kelce anytime TD, he's their number 1. Brown anytime TD, he's their number 1. So, it's cool.
No, I like it. Like same thing. Play with money that you can afford to lose, and that's kind of the way I look at it. Usually during the regular season, I try and stick to straight bets. I don't like to do parlays, and then every once in a while, like I like looking at the player props, same thing. And every once in a while, you'll see some that just don't make sense. Like I remember one week I saw it was like week 8 or 9. D Hop was over under yards were like 62 yards for a game, and I had him and since he came back, he was putting up like 100,
He
100.
had a
So I
great
smashed that, and he had like 120
first couple
yards.
weeks, and then, what's his face got hurt.
Yeah, he actually did okay with Colt McCoy. It was until that Trace McSorley came in. He can't throw the ball. Anyway, digressing. Gambling's very fun. Only gamble what you can afford to lose.
It's fun when you win.
It's way more fun than when you win. Money won is sweeter than money
Yep.
earned.
Final out of the game, Mahomes MVP, obviously a clear winner there. I don't think anybody else on the
Hmm.
Chiefs stood out aggressively, so that was an easy pick. 21 out of 27. Low numbers because, the time of possession was a little skewed
Yeah,
because that was Philly's game plan to keep them off the field.
the
186
three
total
touchdown.
yards, which caught me off guard. Probably
Yeah, it
his
was
lowest
low
of
for
the
them.
season, honestly. 3 scores, no interceptions, no sacks, no fumbles, 132 QBR. That's a that's a excellent game. It's almost a near perfect game.
He did everything right, like, he didn't make any mistakes, and he made the big throws, like, that was the big difference with him is he put it on people when he needed to. They like you said, they scored every drive of the second half. Did he get his big plays and big yards? No, but even with that bum ankle, he was able to scramble. I think he had 1 or 2
Let's talk
scrambles for,
about
like,
that bum
20
ankle.
yards.
Do you think it's really as bad as they say? Like, honest question. Or do you
Yeah.
think he's trying to play this, hero ball slash, if it doesn't work out, "No, I had a bum ankle, so we're gonna get back after it next year."
No, only because he went out of the game in Cincinnati. And like I don't know if you've had high ankle sprains because I know you ran and you ran in college. Um but I don't know if you ever had the ankle sprain because it's more like lateral stuff, but I haven't. That it fucking hurts. It hurts bad. So when he went out and Henny came in and took him down the field, I knew it was real. Like he's not coming out of the game unless it's really hurt, and it's about a 6 week recovery to get back to 100%. What I think happened is he had a pretty bum ankle. I think they shot him up with cortisone pregame, wrapped the heck out of it. He tweaked it. I think he got another shot at halftime, and he just went out there and slung it.
I don't know, he looked pretty good on that long run he had in the 4th
Yeah.
quarter.
Well, that cortisone stuff, man, you don't feel nothing. When you get a shot, when you take the needle, man, you could play on a broken bone with that stuff.
I don't know. The media, they eat it up. "Oh, bum ankle.
Yeah,
Ah."
gutsy play, but no, he that was real. If it
Some
didn't
It's
come out of the
honestly
game
like
in
some Jackson
Cincinnati,
Mahomes type nonsense.
I hate Jackson Mahomes.
I'm not a fan.
So, did you see his wife trying to, like, push her way to the front of the stage during the trophy
As
ceremony?
soon as the game was over and I noticed that I won $1,000, I was like, "Wow, let's have a drink.
Yeah,
That'll piss
celebrate.
me off."
So with that, I know the guy you really like, Travis Kelce. Is he cringe?
I kinda wanna hear your opinion on it first. I wanna see where you're at with this, because you like the guy and
I think
you like that energy.
I like a showman, I like a little flamboyance, and I in a football player, I really like arrogance. I like that where he's kind of a dick, and, there's just a little swagger to it. He's razor's edge. I like Jason Kelsey more than I like Travis Kelsey. Travis is a little sometimes too much. Like last week or 2 weeks ago when he came at the mayor for coming at them, I was like, I get that. But, like, he's sometimes a little too WWE for me. I'm like, just, you're all right, man. Just talk a little smack and keep it moving. I'd say he is a little cringe. Travis Kelsey's a little cringe.
So, if you really think Travis Kelce, that the number 1 seed in the AFC, a team that lost 3 games all year by a total of only 10 points, while you've been to 5 straight AFC championships, hosting all of them, mind you should be playing the "nobody respected us" card. You're dumb, and that's
Yeah.
garbage.
Well, the only thing I'll give him is when they were talking bulletin board material. If you look at this season, if you go back to preseason, I think a lot of people had them picked to finish third. And they had Denver and they had San Diego kind of as the top two in that division. And they had Vegas up there too. People thought Vegas were going to be good. So people kind of knocked Kansas City because they lost Tyreek Hill. They're like, "Oh, is that offense gonna be the same?" There was a lot of chatter, and then all they did week in and week out is beat people.
FanDuel had them at the 3rd best odds to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so you can't say
Nobody
nobody did.
nobody was
I
saying,
think
"Oh, yeah,
the
Kansas City is
pundits
tough."
were.
Nobody was saying that.
The pundits were for
I get it.
sure on ESPN, especially these last 2 weeks. Everybody was on Philly. Everybody was on the Eagles. Everybody was talking them up. When people were making picks, everybody was picking Eagles. All the money in Vegas was on the Eagles. It was like 70-30. Vegas was pulling for the Chiefs pretty hard.
Finally
So,
put some respect on our names.
yeah,
Shit.
finally some respect. Definitely a little cringe, but I do think that it's not nobody was picking them, but like they were definitely the dogs in this. And I think what he was saying is we've been the top dogs for 5 years, and you're gonna say we don't have a chance. This is our stuff. This is what we do. So I think he's more cringy in his like fight for your right to party stuff. That's his bit and jumping into the interviews. But as far as the didn't give us respect, I kind of get what he was going for on that. People were
Cringe.
trying to disrespect the Chiefs. Definitely
So,
cringy.
couple little stats here before we close out the Super Bowl. Um, let's see here. What do I got here? Patrick Mahomes is the first season MVP to win the Super Bowl since Kurt Warner in '99. The previous MVPs were 0-9 in that time frame.
Wow.
In the loss, Hurts was 27 of 38 for 304, four total touchdowns,
Yeah, he played a
uh,
heck of a game.
one fumble loss, which was a huge mistake and maybe the difference maker in the game. Um, Eagles have a solid future, in my opinion. If they
Mhm,
can tune up their defense a little bit more, they're going to be fine. Um, Devonta Smith, AJ Brown, Hurts, and Sanders. I mean, they got the weapons to keep moving. So
yeah, they look like a team that's just gonna get better. Their defense was a top defense this year. The only knock that I can put on them is that defensive line is getting old.
they're getting
It
old.
fle
And I saw this year, and I think you mentioned it last week. The NFC was kind of poo poo,
Mhm.
so it was a little skewed.
They
A little
walked
skewed.
they had a much easier road to the Super Bowl than the AFC, than whoever was gonna make it from the AFC.
Yeah, but Mahomes is now 4-2 in his career and down double digits in the postseason, which is
Wild
aggressive.
stat.
That's aggressive. With two of those wins being in the Super Bowl, which is, I mean, that's where goats are made. And then this postseason, he was 72 of 100, 700 yards, seven touchdowns, no interception. That's
He's a special talent, like, I'm not a Chiefs fan, but I don't know how you could watch them and not get excited about Patrick Mahomes. Like, I feel like we're entering that next stage. Tom Brady retired, we talked about this. We're gonna get a decade now of him versus Joe Burrow and Josh Allen and Trevor Lawrence, because Jacksonville looks like they might be sneaky up to something good.
mhm,
Justin Herbert's kind of coming up in the wings. Jalen Hurts is going to be a force if he can stay healthy. Running quarterbacks make me nervous. I think Lamar Jackson, if he gets a team with a pass first offense, could be electric.
mhm.
Um, I'm excited, and I'm excited because I think he's going to kind of be the class. He's set himself up right now to be in the conversation for the best ever, but he's got to win a few more Super Bowls.
I don't think he has to get to 7.
Yeah, I agree.
He's the greatest.
No,
'Cause
I think if he
you look at the NBA, Wilt Chamberlain, or not, excuse me, Bill Russell.
Bill
Huge.
Russell's got like 9 championships, right?
He's got 11 maybe,
Is it
12 as
11?
a coach, but
It's like
he's
baseball.
not
Yogi
the GOAT.
Berra's got like 10
He's
World
not the GOAT.
Series
He's
rings.
he's considered one of the greats.
Yeah.
Everybody considers Michael Jordan the GOAT, and he's
Mhm.
got less than Bill Russell. I think we might have that same conversation if Mahomes can just put together an aggressive career with only 4 rings.
Yeah, if he wins 2 more and he is at the top of every statistical category,
Mhm.
people are definitely gonna make the argument because he does some things that Tom Brady could never.
Yeah,
And you know I'm a Tom Brady guy. I think he's awesome.
I
But some of the things he does extending the play, throwing across it, he does stuff that they teach quarterbacks not to do, like it's routine. Like running to his right, whips it back across the field for like he gets away with it because he's different than everybody else. Like the
he is
rules don't apply to him.
excellent benefactor of the new NFL offense first gameplay.
Oh yeah, every quarterback in the NFL is getting that. He's just perfect for it. Of
Sure.
being able to like Russell Wilson, I think was the first one to really be able to take full advantage of it. Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers because of their mobility. So they were able to scramble and extend plays and they didn't have to take big hits like the guys did in the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s. So they were able to get a few more calls, get a few more pass interference. They extend the plays and now we're going to see, I think, just this boom of offense. And you're already starting to see defenses adjust the way they schemed all of it. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time to be a football fan. I just wish we didn't have to wait 203 more days before we get back to college football and then the pros.
Well, we got baseball coming up.
Yeah. pitchers and catchers report this week, I think.
Yeah, I only care about April, but overall, tough sports season for Philly.
Yeah,
They lost the
you
Super
know,
Bowl. They lost the World Series. They lost the
would you
MLS Cup. Flyers are
uh,
one of the worst teams in the NHL. All they have left is the 76ers, and let's be honest, they have James Harden, and they don't play defense. So,
yeah, I mean, it's definitely tough to go to 2 championships and lose, but I mean, at least they got to 2 championship games. Detroit's teams, I mean, we didn't even make the playoffs in any sport.
would you rather have here's a little mini would you rather. Would you rather have all 4 major teams make the finals and lose or have 1 team make the finals and win?
I think 1 team win. I think 1 championship. I want a parade. Don't care which one.
Yeah,
If I just want it to be random. I think
I would
I
agree unless the other 3 teams are, like, dead last garbage cans, then it would just be absolutely
yeah.
miserable.
Yeah, if the Lions were like the 0 and 16 season, and then we got a Red Wings Stanley Cup, like, I'd probably rather both teams just make the championship games. But again, if it's random, it's like everybody's gonna have a pretty average season. Give me a championship. Like if it was this year and like flip randomizer, 1 in 4 chance any of the teams win, I'll take that.
Sure. Moving on, the next topic here, NFL awards snubs. I personally think there's 3 snubs out there. We'll see what you have to say. First one on the docket here, defensive rookie of the year, Hutchinson. He had more interceptions than Sauce, and that's Sauce's job. How did they miss on that?
I thought the same thing. Now, I'm definitely a homer on this one. I think Hutch is solid, and he came on strong late. I think that I don't know. I saw all the talk all season was just it's Sauce Gardner is a lock. Sauce Gardner is going to be the defensive rookie, and in my mind, I'm looking at it. I'm like, I don't get why it's so clear cut that he's the defensive rookie. Now, I think the argument is corner is a more difficult position to play because you're on an island, you're exposed, and he became the clear cut shut down, lockdown guy. Um, and maybe the reason he didn't get so many picks is because they weren't throwing at him. Difference maker.
Which is why we didn't get to see a whole lot of, big play Slay yesterday.
Yeah,
He was shutting his side of the field down.
they went at him on the 2 touchdowns though. If you go back and watch 2 of the
Both of
touchdowns,
them.
they put him in a blender on one like with motion. I felt bad for him. We don't need to break it down, but they went after him on those ones.
Next
But
one,
but hold
rookie
with the
offensive
rookie
player
of
of
the
the year.
year, I gotta say with Hutch, he had 3 picks. He had a forced fumble, I think a fumble recovery, he had something in
9.5
there, and he had 9.5 sacks. Like, he had better numbers than Nick Bosa when Nick Bosa was rookie of the year or defensive rookie of the year. Um, and I guess I don't get me wrong, I think I watched maybe 1 Jets game, and it was when they played the Lions. I didn't see that much better of a talent. To me, I felt like Hutch had more of an impact, but again, I'm very much biased towards him.
and
I thought he was the defensive rookie of the year.
here's what bugs me about the awards is, do stats matter more than worth? Like, it's not most statistical award, it's the most valuable, and I think
Yeah.
that we're taking the valuable out of the equation too many times. Hutch was extremely valuable to that
Yeah,
defense.
the amount of double teams that he ate up and still made plays is mind-blowing.
The fact that he's getting doubled up is a big deal.
He was a game changer. He didn't get the
Moving
respect.
on to the
Detroit
next
never gets the respect.
one,
Moving on.
offensive rookie of the year. I thought Kenneth Walker. By the way, I think we can both agree Hutch was snubbed.
I think it was a snub.
Um, Offensive rookie of the year. I personally think Kenneth Walker was a snub. Um, I will agree.
It was Garrett Wilson, right?
It
They
was
were
Garrett
it was
Wilson.
yeah,
And I had Garrett Wilson in fantasy. He was good. He wasn't great.
I gotta be honest with
Walker
you.
was great in
I
all the
think
games that he played.
I
The
agree. I
Vikes
think Kenneth Walker definitely should have beaten Garrett Wilson, but I think it should have been Brock Purdy. And I'm gonna tell you why. Statistically, he came in at the end of the season and he played great for a rookie. I mean, he came into a phenomenal situation, great coach, 100%. But if he had been a first round pick and came in midseason and did what he did, it would have been no question, clear cut. He is the offensive rookie of the year. If he had any kind of hype behind him, any kind of expectation, he would have been rookie of the year. But because he was a late
How
round
many
pick,
games did he
he
play?
got kind of, I think he played 6. I think he came in like week 10. But here's the thing, he came in, he didn't lose. He put up numbers. He looked like a vet.
I
He
don't even wanna take the
took
loss
them
to Philly on him either.
right. I mean, he took them to the NFC Championship game. I don't know what could be more valuable from an offensive rookie than to come in and lead your team to a playoff run. And if he doesn't get hurt, who knows what happens in that game? Because San Francisco was a very good football team.
Defensively, yes.
No, I mean, both sides of the ball.
I
They
think
were a very good football team, top to bottom.
I like your answer. So I think we can kinda tag team this with Walker and Purdy.
I do think it was a
Likely
yeah,
missed
snub.
most of the season was the reason they didn't get it.
Yeah, if they would have come in the first 4 games of the season and put up a similar type stat, it would have been Kenneth Walker or Brock Purdy.
Kenneth Walker, poor guy. He's been snubbed twice for monumental career award opportunities.
I hope he gets his recognition. The dude is a workhorse. I'm excited
He's
to
gonna
see what he
get
can do next year
recognition
too.
when he receives the bag. And,
Yeah, I hope he does get paid.
uh, last
MVP.
last one here, MVP. Mahomes with the MVP. And to say that Mahomes didn't deserve the MVP is an understatement of what I'm trying to say here. He's obviously the best player on the planet. I get that. But he got 48 out of 50 first place votes. Hurts got 1. And I think that is just off.
You know, I love Mahomes, and I do think Hurts earned the MVP this year because when you look
Valuable.
at
He was valuable to that team.
now, I think they're both equally valuable to their teams because I think if you take Patrick Mahomes off Kansas City and you have to have somebody else come in there week in, week out,
Clearly not as great. I get that. But look what
yeah,
Chad Henne did.
that was one drive.
One drive
Don't get me
mattered.
wrong. It was yeah, but I'm talking about over the course. If Chad Henne has to come in, and he has for them before, they don't win with Chad Henne over the course of a season when teams game plan and get ready for him. And a really great example of this and why I think Hurts was the MVP is we got to see it. We get to see him go down for 2 or 3 weeks and Gardner Minshew come in and try and run that scheme,
0
and they
wins,
were
2 losses.
not a good football team. The impact that Jalen Hurts gives to that team is what got them to the Super Bowl. He was the most valuable player in the NFL this season. Um, it was close, but I do think he edged out Mahomes and got snubbed this year.
I would agree. And again, I'm okay with Mahomes getting the MVP. He's obviously the best
Yeah,
player on the planet. I'm fine with it. But the fact
it's
that
not.
he got
It's
48 out of
not.
50,
Yeah,
come on. Hurts, that's just disrespect. I mean, Hurts earned a little bit more first place votes, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I agree.
Jared Allen had the other 1 vote, but um, and there was a couple media personnel that left Hurts off their list, which is
I would love
I
to
don't even have
hear.
words for that.
I just want to know like what their reasoning is. I would love them just to have to defend it. You know what I
They
mean? Like,
hate
tell
Philadelphia
me
is what it
they just
comes
hate Philly. Yeah, I can see that.
overall.
Philly.
Mahomes is the 3rd player in the NFL to win a second MVP before turning 28. Dude's putting together a resume.
Yeah, we're gonna get 10 more years of elite Patrick Mahomes. That's then
And
he'll still be really good if he stays healthy.
so you said 10 more years of elite, which means 3 to 4 more of stat padding at the end.
Yeah. I
I'm not
mean, a
saying
lot's
he's
gonna
winning, but
happen.
he's stat padding.
It just depends. Yeah, then he could I mean, it's how long does he wanna play? Because what did he sign? A 10-year, $500 million deal? He's gonna get most of that with incentives and whatnot. I mean, so it's really gonna be up to him. As long as he wants to play, I feel like there'll be somebody that will be happy to take him under center.
Correct. Moving on
Alright.
to the Road Dog
Road
segment.
dogs. Road
Closing out
dogs.
Road Dogs. NFL lock-in road win of the week. Overall, you won 4-3 with that win over the Philadelphia Eagles, so congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Next
Thank you.
year, I
Thank
am
you.
excited for the whole season of this in, and we
Hmm.
can add in a couple other rules. I definitely wanna add in the rule of if your team loses by 21 points or more, you lose a
Double
half point.
digits. I think we do double digits.
Double digits, that's scary.
Yeah, if your team loses by double digits, that you lose
10
a half a
points?
point. Because I think I had it happen twice in the 6 weeks we do that my pick loss just got
You had the
murdered.
2 worst losses of the season, you picked as wins.
Yeah. I mean, of the sense we were keeping track, but yeah,
Well,
there's some bad ones. Um, Regardless, one. Pick the winners. I'm glad that the Super Bowl came down and we were on different sides of who we thought would win, so it's not controversial. But Chiefs Kingdom, thank you for taking me to the promised land.
it's fine, it's fine. That win won me a decent amount of money, so I'm actually very okay with it.
It's so funny how the squares and all that. It's like, I didn't want him to win, but the way it all shaked out, I'm not mad about it.
Yeah. Also, I bought 4 squares. I usually buy 1 for each kid, and then I buy 1 for myself, put my name on that one, but, Lexi ended up getting the win, but none of my squares touched anything until that field.
Are you putting the money in an
Where the
account
ball
for
bounced.
Lexi, or is that your money now?
Oh, it's my money. They paid for daycare today, let's be honest.
So you put your kids' names on there, but they're your squares.
100%.
I also bought squares for my kids, but if they won, I was going to give it to them.
Oh, Mr. High and Mighty.
Yeah, you're like one of those parents that if their kid is acting, you take like an 80% management fee,
Are you calling me like
Like
calling
Justin Bieber's dad.
this right now, or
I think you stole from your child.
it was
I, th-
my money. I
I
didn't take
think
money out of their bank account to buy the square.
you could have taken your initial $5 or $45 out, but I mean, whose name was it? I
Listen,
feel
I'll
like
take it out of your
Lexi.
rental.
I think you owe your daughter like $950.
I provide a roof over her head, and I feed her 6 out of 7 days a week.
I mean, that's the kind of deal when you have a kid. Like,
By the way, the one day of the week that I don't
you
feed
act like
her, she refuses to eat dinner.
it's by choice. She goes on a hunger strike.
That's ah, how was
It's
that beer?
incredible.
Just tell me how it was.
How was the what? The beer? Um, all right, so the hazy IPA. It's not bad. I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5.
3.5, which is middle of the road. Guinness, today I am a little, I don't wanna say I'm hungover, but, like, I'm not 100%. So this Guinness just stared at me the entire episode. Um, I'm going I'm going 4.3 today, just wasn't feeling it. Um, I might have to do a 5-week average of the Guinness to get a real average score of it, but overall, Super Bowl episode episode what? What was this, 23?
Yeah, it was episode 23.
I'm outta here.
I'm out. See ya.
See ya.